Number 3, approve agenda.
I'll make them.
Allison makes a motion.
I'll second.
Becky seconds. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Approve claims to date.
I'll make a motion.
Allison makes the motion. Becky seconds. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Approval of personnel and ECA recommendations. John Acton, retirement from Superintendent of SES effective June 30th, 2022. Then my computer comes up. It's working now. Vicki McMurray, resignation from SMS custodian. Miranda Churchman, resignation from SMS special education teacher. Curtis Fisher, new hire SCS bus driver. Raven Cooper, new hire SCS bus monitor. Courtney Leduc, new hire BSE instructional assistant. Gretchen Boer, I hope that's how you say it.
That's right.
New hire SMS special education teacher. Mackenzie Underwood, new hire BSE instructional assistant. Christy Humphrey, transfer from SHS to SMS special education teacher. Bri Little, BSE multi-category disability teacher. Ansley Walton, maternity leave. Chrissy Albertson, reappoint treasurer, SES 2022. Tracy Stone, deputy treasurer, payroll clerk 2022. Allison makes the motion. Ray seconds. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All right. Donations, I'll read through 6 through 11, and then we'll get a motion. Consider approval of an anonymous donation to Salem Community Schools. This donation is for the SHS Counseling Fund. This donation is to be used at the discretion of the SHS counselor, Chris Mahurin. Consider approval of a donation to BSE for $150 from Washington County Farm Bureau Incorporated. This donation is to be used for Christmas assistance. Consider approval of a donation to BSE for $75 for Art Gives Back. These funds are to be used for students in Mrs. Gorman's grades 3 through 5 music class. Consider approval of a donation to BSE from the First Baptist Church for $500 to be used for students in need. Consider approval of a donation to BSE from Bill and Terry Suvak. Thanks, Bill. For $1,000. This donation is to be used for students in Mrs. Gorman's grades 3 through 5 music class. Consider approval of a donation to SHS for $170 from Paul Bosley. Donation to be used as needed.
I'll make them.
Becky makes the motion. Allison seconds. All those in favor, raise your hand. All right, now we will move to comments from the audience. Three comments.
So we have Jean Dallin.
Jean.
Hello, my name is Jean Dallin, and I teach 6th grade band, and I'm here to talk about how the 6th grade band's been doing and how the band department's been doing in general. Our 6th grade students started August 9th, and they've been playing for 5 months, and they're doing quite well. We were very anxious to get back playing after their 2 days off from with virtual learning. They were doing very, very well. We have them for AAA in the morning, and we're going to start some new things with them during that AAA session. We're also, we did our first concert December 9th, and it was well received. We had a good audience, and we were glad to be back on stage and in front of an audience. And just to see the 6th graders when they got on stage and saw all the people in the audience, and their eyes were like flakes. They were just so they were starstruck, and but they gathered themselves and performed quite well, along with the 7th and 8th graders. Did a very nice job. Right now we are in the midst of Solon Ensemble season, and that's going to be at Floyd Central, January 29th, Saturday. And we have 11 students participating, 3 6th grade, 3 8th grade, and 5 high school students. And this will be our first time doing this in a couple of years, where they're actually going to be in person down at Floyd Central. So we are doing after-school lessons and helping them prepare their solos and perform for that. And then we also have March 10th, as we've been talking and meeting in our PLCs, the art departments, we have decided to do a showcase, art showcase on March 10th. And that's going to be K through 12, arts, the music departments, the choir, and the band. And we're doing it at the middle school. We're going to use all the middle school facilities to demonstrate what the arts have been doing this year and where they're headed. So we're looking forward to doing that. And Mrs. Trueblood can talk more about that too.
Yeah, and next we've been meeting when we can with the arts all together, K-12, which has been just wonderful. And we're hoping that, or we know that next month will be elementary visual art. They'll come and talk to you, and knowing them, they'll bring some stuff for you to see and look at and participate with and that sort of thing. They've been doing some wonderful things down there, and we're anxious to show you, to share it with you and show you what the kids have been doing. Mrs. Dow mentioned the in-person concert, and one of our concerns has been, in our PLC discussions, has been that starting the kids out at the elementary level with those performance opportunities is just super important to keep them going throughout middle school and high school with the performance opportunities, whether they be virtual or in person or whatever. And so we're hoping that since we are lucky enough here at Salem to have mostly degreed and certified professionals in the area of music in our department, that we want to use those people to teach the arts. And right now they're helping out with some remediation and things of that nature at the elementary, but our goal and our hope is to get those professionals in music doing what they do best, which is teaching music full-time, and make some changes to that schedule so we can get them back in the music classroom the adequate amount of time to give those early performance opportunities that then go into the kind of things that Mrs. Dowlin's doing at the middle school, and that I'm doing at the middle school, and that Mrs. Slinkard and myself are doing at the high school. So we want to encourage you to encourage that sort of movement in Salem Community Schools to keep our arts alive. And then of course in March we'll talk to you about the arts showcase. In April we'll get the upper elementary music over here and get some things, you know, in your ears, so to speak, that way, and keep you informed with what's going on in the arts. So we appreciate you listening.
Thank you.
Well, we want to say that we appreciate all you do, and I think there's a place in heaven, special place, for anyone who's teaching students when they first start learning their instruments.
Well, there's a place in heaven because we've already been through the other part.
True.
So, but
Yeah.
they're Mrs. Dowan does such a
Yeah.
great job, and they just, if you heard them at the Christmas concert and then you come and hear them in the spring, man, the growth is just incredible. So it was a really neat thing to have an in-person concert again.
Well, we would like to thank you for
Yeah.
all.
You're very welcome.
And personally, I agree with you that in the elementary that we need to, you know, we're building a nice facility here, and we got to get them to the middle school to build that program so that they get to the high school to utilize it.
We have good people.
Yep.
Mr. Brett.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wonderful trained professionals teaching our children. And a lot of corporations nowadays don't have that luxury. But we, from elementary to middle school to high school, we have great arts teachers. And we want to give them that opportunity.
Utilize them. Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I 100% agree with you.
Thank you.
We'll work on that. Our second person,
Joe McGear.
Mr. Mihir.
I'll yield my time back to the president.
If you don't have anything, huh? Oh, well.
Joe McGear is speechless.
Did I steal your words? I mean, did you were in agreement with that? Yeah. Yeah. This is totally off topic, but one thing I wish I'd learned how to do is play guitar, but I'm not. My middle one has took lessons, and someday I may end up being in a band. But yeah. Wow. You laughed, Tom, but good eye. Who was our third?
Joe was our third. It was
Oh,
Gene, Bonnie,
okay,
and then Joe.
okay, gotcha.
We've got John Hawkins and Todd from Cutter to talk a little bit about the Safer project.
Right now. Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Shaw.
Mr. Hawkins is here, and Todd with Cutter Construction would like to give you an update on the Ciphers projects.
Thank you.
My daughter's got a mask just like that.
This is a Bonnie Harmon special.
Thanks, sir.
Did you hear that?
I do too.
She said her mask is a Bonnie Harmon special.
Thanks, sir.
This is,
We maybe, hey, I got a drummer.
get the band all
Get there.
together.
I just need a singer now.
So we've got Todd Magner with Cutter Construction here. Just got some pictures that show you the work so far at the high school. We've got footings and foundation walls going in. One thing you might notice is that the footings are extremely large. Even on the non-load bearing walls, they are gigantic. And that is to hold the building down when the 250-mile-an-hour tornado winds try and pick it up. Then at the middle school, which is the last page, we've got the geothermal drilling rig there, and they've got stone on a building pad, and they're starting to lay out the footings. Budget-wise, we're in great shape. We have built-in contingencies that you've authorized Dr. Thurston and myself to manage. So the built-in contingency at the high school, we've dipped in a little bit. We hit a fiber optic line that nobody knew about that was between here and the high school. So that cost a little bit to reconnect. And then we hit a bunch of rock. You would think that I would learn that no matter what the geotechnical report says about rock, there's more, but I haven't totally learned that lesson yet in Salem. We did have some savings with the city doing the new street work on Shelby Street. We were able to reroute the water and fire sprinkler line. We also rerouted the sanitary line. So we spent about 22 for the fiber optic line, about 32 for rock, but we saved about 12 on the water and sewer. So we're at about, we've dipped into the contingency about $42,000 at the high school. We still got $157,000 left. At the middle school, had the opposite problem. We ran into some storm piping we didn't know was there, so we had to redo that. And we've dipped into the contingency at the middle school for about $9,500, and we've got about $190,000 left. Schedule. So the schedule has been a challenge, both from supplies and workers. And Todd's here to explain the steps that they're taking to try and get things back on schedule. The broad overview is we were scheduled to be done in October of this year, and it's probably going to be more like February. So,
right, and you know, if anybody's got any questions, just please speak up on that end of it. But I really wanted to, we're starting to pick up a little momentum on the site, and we're figuring out some things, and we're getting in some other personnel. But like anything, if any of you all have tried to go out and buy anything at all, refrigerator, food or anything, everything is in short supply, long deliveries. Everybody's hiring, including us. So if you know anybody good in construction, you can send them our way too on that end of it. So fortunately, we have been able to pick up some people. In addition, and you may not know this, but we self-perform typically a lot of these trades. We self-perform site and concrete, the masonry, the steel. And then on given jobs, knowing the schedule, we'll sub out those trades. In this particular case, we had planned on doing all the concrete on this job. But to help out, we have found another very qualified subcontractor that does concrete that we do use often on other projects. they're starting, they're laying out, and they're starting actually over in the middle school so that we can get that job rolling along in through there. We've had meetings with the steel supplier, which was a huge concern at the beginning because there's a lot of steel that is extremely pricey and pushed back in a lot of schedules. So right now I don't see any wood, but hopefully we're holding on the schedule. They say they're in good shape on that end. So that'll be coming on. And like I said, our superintendent, Fred Clooney's one of our best. He's one of my favorites out there. I'm not on the job day to day, but Fred is, and Fred's ran several schools projects under his experience with the company. He's a mason by trade, very particular on the quality and trades end of that. So you've got one of our best there. I really don't have anything else. John, is there anything else you'd think of for us to hit? Like I said, we've presented a new schedule going into February. We don't see, that's one thing we harp on. We don't want to miss any schedules. It's just that it's just a new thing with pandemic and everything else. It's just something that we have to accommodate, make changes. We learn.
At this time, can I ask, do you see the middle school or the high school being done, which one being done first, I guess, or?
They're going to finish up very similar in timing. I did not bring a schedule with me, but
Well, and I don't mean to put you on one. I
No.
completely understand.
right.
Yeah.
No, they should be in similar. Even though one's a little bit bigger than the other, they're still very comparable in
Just-
scope. The middle school's a little bit access and everything like that's a little easier to get to and things like that. So it may pick up some time on that. Whereas on the high school is a very challenging site with a grade change. You're either out of the ground or you're below the ground, and there's no way to get around it. So everything is flowing in and out of one area. So that makes that site a little more challenging, but they're both similar in scope of work and duration of time.
And as far as weather, will that trip you up a little bit if we start getting some of the snow and ice? I mean, or are you able to continue working during?
Most of the time we can continue on. We build in weather into it with our typical, what we have. So we'll, unless we just get something, which it could happen this year. But,
why not, right?
Right, bring it all on. Hopefully we have a typical year and we can maneuver through it.
Awesome, thank you.
We appreciate you, and
Absolutely.
after we've seen what happened in Kentucky, it's huge that we're building these and we'll have the utilization. I mean, we got a firefighter on our board here to know that they could have, if this was Kentucky, utilize those 3 buildings that those generator power and stuff of that nature. So we appreciate you, and hopefully everything stays on schedule. I tried to buy a dryer. It took like 6 months, so I know what you're dealing with. So.
Well, I took my parents, their refrigerator went out, and I tried to take them, and I was all right. My mother is like 85. It's hard to explain. You're just going to get what they got. We'll find something later. For right now,
Yeah.
just get something that works.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
They don't understand that right now.
Yeah.
So one other item, question that came up when we were going out for bids is the access from the high school addition to the parking lot that's in front of the presentation room and the gym. We did not have any outside connection there. I think the comment I made was, well, there's a sidewalk out at the street. But if you've been over there, you can see a pathway that all the workers from Fred's trailer take to go up the hill to the work. So we looked at what could we do to build a bridge across there. First we thought, well, could we just build a sidewalk and some steps? And then a couple of big rains came through, and it's a tremendous volume of water that goes through there. And that area acts, I don't think it was designed to do this, but right now the way that everything has eroded out over the years, that area acts as a detention basin that helps keep Harrison Street from flooding. So the thought is, well, we can't do a sidewalk, it'll get washed out. Could we do a bridge? We looked at 2 or 3 different ways to do a bridge. And the best way that we've come up with is to buy a prefab steel bridge that would span across there, and we'd have to build abutments to set that bridge on, and that would connect to the new stairs that we're building by the cooling or chillers that sit out there. All in all, that's probably gonna cost somewhere close to $100,000 by the time it's all said and done. If you want to pursue that, we can get some detailed drawings up and get it priced for sure. If you want to wait until later in the project to see how the money is going, we can do that too. But just wanted to throw that out there to get your thoughts and discussions on whether we should pursue that or not.
So that would eat up most of the money that you get.
So the built-in contingency, I realize it's all your money, but we call that our money. And then the money that you've got left in your bank account that's over and above what the bids were, we call that your contingency. So we got our contingency and your contingency. We're thinking that the bridge would come out of your contingency. That would be a change order to increase the bid price.
And so when we had this discussion previously, when you came up with the plans, we had talked about how is kids going to get from that door back to that parking lot into that area. The bridge was talked about. Somebody brought it up. I don't remember who it was.
It was actually Bonnie Hartman.
Bonnie.
Bonnie Hartman, yeah,
Right.
wanted the bridge, yeah.
We looked at that,
And
yes.
comes back top over that.
It's very difficult because the size of the culvert, and you actually end up having to build steps to go up over the culvert, and then you have to build steps to go back down on that side of the culvert, to go back up steps to get to the building. So we couldn't get the culvert to work because of the size that it needed. We looked at using precast concrete planks, but that didn't work. The best idea that we looked at 3 or 4 different ideas. The best one we've come up with is a prefab steel bridge. If you've been Borden there in that ball field they got south of where Kimball used to be, there's a steel bridge there. It's very similar to what we're thinking about.
How long will it take to get like a rendering to look like, so we can see what what's it going to look like?
Yeah,
because it's going to stay there permanently.
We could probably have that by the next board meeting.
You got any other questions on that, Mark?
All right. Thank you all very much.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thanks, Todd.
Yeah, I say it every meeting. I don't have a mask on, but it's because I always get 1,000 people say, "Can't hear me talking here." So finally, I just started doing it without a mask. So hopefully, everybody can hear me. Thanks for coming. We appreciate the work. We'll move to action items. Number 12. Consider establishing a board finance for 2022.
Yes, we provide a copy of the Indiana Code addressing establishment of boards of finance. And there's also a copy of the December 31, 2021 fund report and bank reconciliation report as well. School districts may determine if board of finance should be established each calendar year. Our past practice has been to establish a board of finance. The recommendation tonight is to establish a board of finance with the current school board president and secretary of the board as officers serving on that board of finance. So there's that, and then after the board approves the finance, I'd like to hit the high points of the financial report as well.
I'll make a motion.
Allison makes a motion.
I'll second.
Mark seconds. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Sorry.
With the financial report, you'll see, as I mentioned already, a bank fund reconciliation report for December 2021. Our current balance for all funds, $2,401,072.09. On December 20th of 2020, that balance was $2,142,655.28, which we realized an increase of $258,416.87, or 12.06% from December of 2020 to December of 2021. The report that is provided every January is in accordance with Senate Enrolled Act 549, where the superintendent or the superintendent designee is directed to submit a written report, which is in your packet, to the Board of Finance during the annual meeting of said group that assesses the financial condition of the school district utilizing the Distressed Unit Appeals Board, or what's called DUAB, Fiscal Indicators. The following information represents the condition and trends of Salem Community Schools from the period beginning calendar year 2012 through calendar year 2021. The first of the indicators on page 1 is the average daily membership, or the ADM, which is used in the state funding formula to determine the amount of tuition support. And you can see that we continue to be on a downward trend, decreasing trend with the ADM, but we've been able to manage the district through attrition and staff retirements. So while we have seen a reduction of the student count, and also results in a reduction of funding, we have not been over adversely impacted. We are in pretty good shape, actually, in the education fund, even which drives the ADM drives. On the second page, we have fund balances for the general fund and the operations fund, and the history of that from 2012 through 2021. We look at the education fund. We ended 2021 with a cash balance of $958,669.43, which was an increase of $261,213.93, or a gain of 37.45% in 2021 in the education fund. We were more challenged in the operations fund, and there's different variables that attribute to that. One is utilities. You know, it's a lot, it's less expensive to run school when you don't have anyone here than when you do. And not to make light of it, but in 2020, during the shutdowns, we did not have excessive utility costs. So if you look at, I track this month to month, and in calendar year 2020, our total utility cost, Duke Energy, Midwest Gas, and City Water and Sewer, was $501,592.01. But at the end, and we just finished up, got the utility bills for December today, so we finished 2021 today. In 2021, we had total utility costs in Duke Energy, Midwest Gas, and the City Water of $622,566.50. We had an increase of $120,000, almost $121,000, or 24.12% increase in those three utilities in 1 year, because we're back in session. If you look at fuel, there again, we saw an increase in fuel, where in 2020 we spent $60,201.63, primarily because buses weren't running as much with school not being in session, versus 2021, where we had total fuel costs of $104,725.48, or an increase of 73.96%. So, you know, that's part of the problem. Not a problem, that's part of what took place. We also did not transfer the full amount each month from education to operations. The board approved a $1.9 million transfer from education to operations in calendar year 21, $159,165 per month. Some months we did not transfer all that amount to try to balance the cash in the education fund, which took a little bit of a toll on the operations fund. We're going to watch that more closely in 2022, make an effort to transfer more of the money and try to balance that. If you go above the 15% revenue in 2022 with that transfer, then DUAB wants to come down and pay you a visit and try to explain to you what you're doing wrong and how you know need to change your ways and your actions. And you know, we certainly appreciate all the help that we get from the state, but we're trying to avoid a visit if we can. But we also want to maintain some stabilization in the operations fund. So there were those factors, plus we did give some pretty good increases this year, well-deserved among the staff, certainly well-deserved, and that had a toll as well. And lastly, last comment I'm going to make about this is the circuit breaker prevented us from collecting $609,384.83 of our property tax that the Department of Local Government Finance certified for calendar year 2021. So we deal with that every year. We work with it. That's largely why we take the local income tax money and put all of it in the operations fund to offset this huge amount that we aren't able to collect because of the local property tax circuit breaker. So those are the high points of the report. We're just going to pay particularly close attention to the operations fund in 2022. You know, anytime you get a hit like we took this year, which we ended up with we went from $461,981 at the end of 2020 to $193,208 at the end of 2021, or a negative $268,773 between the 2 years. And there again, you know, we're being challenged with in 2020 we collected 81.9% of our property tax levy. In 2021, we collected 78.39% of the property tax levy. So, you know, these are things that we don't really control or have control over. What we do control is how we spend the money, and we pay a little bit closer attention to that. And if you have any questions on this report, I take them at this time. Otherwise, we can move on to the next item.
I think it was a great year in teacher negotiations. Some of you that were here were a part of that, and certified, non-certified as well. So to stay positive in the operations fund and to take care of your people, I think Dr. Thurston is doing a good job. So
Thank you.
And with the help of Brent.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You know, Chris does a lot of work.
We appreciate you guys' work. We don't want you to change your ways. So.
Thank you.
Okay. Here we go. So number 13, consider reappointment of Tom Ciphers as legal counselor for SCS for 2022.
You want me to leave the room?
No. I don't. Everybody's making a motion. Allison made the motion, Becky second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. And I will say too, Tom has done a great job for us. Me and him, I didn't know Tom a whole lot. He was before that, but now he's a great addition to the Salem Community School System as our legal representative. Number 14, consider approval to cancel checks.
Okay, we have checks from Karen Lipka, Food Service Director, Salem Community Schools, with an enclosed memorandum. She would like to cancel the following checks and amounts. Check number 5324 for $131.24, dated April 5, 2019. And check number 9295 for $937.38, dated February 8, 2019. These would be receipted back into the school nutrition fund. And we also have from the school corporation outstanding checks for more than 2 years. Go over these real quickly with you. Beginning with check number 38,859 down to 41,349. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 8 checks from the corporation that totaled $3,436.51. So if those are these are no longer active and subject to board approval, they would be receipted into the education fund. We also have check number 2654 through 16898 for a total of $5,165.94. And again, that would be receipted into the education fund as recommended by Chris Albertson, treasurer of the Salem School Board, School Corporation, excuse me. The middle school has checks totaling $229.98 that they would like to have deposit back into the original funds, beginning with concessions, the Washington D.C. trip, and the counseling fund. And the high school has checks totaling $1,029.84 that are spread out among the athletic fund, Tri-High Y, and okay, that's it. So the recommendation would be to approve cancellation of these checks and receiving them back into the funds recommended by the treasurers who submitted the recommendations.
Mark makes a motion, Ray seconds. All those in favor, raise your eye. All right, 15, consider approval of affidavit for payment.
Yes, the Indiana State Board of Accounts recommends school board approve affidavits for payment prior to submission to U.S. Bank in Louisville, our trustee. This affidavit for payment will be paid from the 2021 lease financing for the FEMA Safe Rooms construction work pertaining to the bond. These payments are to Cutter Construction for $309,133.19 for the high school project, with $16,270.16 to be held in escrow, and $145,123 for the middle school project, with $7,638.10 to be held in escrow. Would recommend approval of this affidavit for payment.
Becky Humphrey makes the motion. Allison seconds. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Hot topic here. Consider approval of graduation date as May 28, 2022 at 2 p.m.
I'll make the motion.
Becky White makes the motion. Ray seconds. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Items from staff.
Happy to be here.
You're happy to be here. Any comments, concerns? You got anything? Nothing? Nothing? No? Okay. Non-action items. I think we have any non-action items tonight, right? New board business. Discuss the payment for the requesting from Jana for the books.
Oh, did you want to do that?
We'll discuss it. Yeah. Or so we got the conflict of interest fixed last month. We've got the check back. We had a request. Jana had a request to reissue the check back for the books. So we wanted to bring that up. There's something we was all aware of, but it's something that was requested from her on Friday. And in order to do that, we have to have a board approval too. We did.
I thought we'd already approved
We didn't have a board approval. We had a discussion to issue check back, but we didn't actually approve that in the minutes that I went back and looked at. So that's why I said I'd bring it back up.
To make the motion? I'll make the motion.
Okay, Becky makes the motion to reissue the check that we had that was returned. Becky White makes the motion. Becky Humphrey seconds. All those in favor, raise your hand. Any other new board business? I think some people saw that mandatory vaccination was on our agenda, and then we didn't have that conversation. Some of you might have came to have that to talk about that, as most of us got calls, I'm sure. And it was in regards to some were worried that it was going to be a mandatory towards students. That wasn't the case. Brent, do you want to talk a little bit?
Well, it was based on the Supreme Court, the case that's in front of the Supreme Court right now, where the mandate from the government is that, from OSHA, is that any business over 100 employees, everyone in the business must be vaccinated, or the business is subject to a fine of $14,000 per individual. And, or they have to be subjected to weekly testing. That is in front of the Supreme Court. They heard oral arguments on that on Friday. They have not made a decision on that. So that was supposed to go into effect today. Mm-hmm. And so we were prepared to adhere to what the policy, if they made a decision to uphold the mandate. Since they have not made a decision, that's why it was pulled off the agenda.
Yeah.
But it was all in reference to the OSHA mandate for businesses over 100 employees.
Which would have been a law above us, nothing that we can change or I feel the same way as most of you, even though I'm in the military and I have to take the shot. Yeah, it's debatable both ways, but Uncle Sam says I have to. So, but we had conversations, and it was not in any means. Feel free to talk for the rest of you. It was not a mandatory student. Some people had called and said, "Oh my gosh, you're my kid." No, that wasn't the case. So I wanted to bring that up and have that conversation. Any other comments from you? Any other new board business from the rest of you?
Well, I think that going forward, we're seeing some other schools, and we know our county was red, and we'll find out tomorrow on what color will be, I guess. So we are seeing a lot of our community being hit with COVID, and so I want to say that I'm happy that we have procedures already in play that Brent has got for us if it should change, like some other schools have gone virtual, or with that, we're not at this time, but if there should be a plan of action, I think it's great that our school system's being proactive to have a system into play if something does happen, where our employees or our teachers or people just do not, if we don't have enough people, right? Yeah. Is that right? I feel like we need to get that out to the public. I feel like the community needs to know that, because they're looking for a direction. Should there, we're looking surrounding schools that are being faced with this already. Yeah. And we'll see what happens in ours.
Yeah, when you talk about weather, so a couple weeks ago we had some ice that hit, and we didn't cancel school, and it was a little shaky as far as that happens. Some things that people don't take into consideration is there's a lot of kids that go to the nurse's station to get a coat just to go outside and play every day, and then we depend on those kids to wait at a bus stop when it's 0 degrees or negative. So you may not see a lot of snow on a day that you close, but it's in the best interest of our people and our kids. And we trust that Brent's going to make that right decision. So you may not see a whole lot of information come out early in the day, but know that we're aware of that. That's what he does, and we will continue to do that. As far as COVID, Borden and Henryville closed today. We just talked about earlier having a plan should something like that happen, and there is no plan right now for that to happen. But should that happen, that we need to work to formulate a plan where there's a place for kids to go for people who have to work during the day. So we're thinking of that stuff as well. We've been through this for the last 18 months, so
But I think it's good for everyone to know that they're working on a plan and working on
Yeah, and if you're out there and you have some suggestions, or you want to donate some stuff to the admin building, feel free to stop in and talk to to our guys there. You guys want to add anything to that conversation as well? Nothing. But we are being proactive, and we will do what's best for kids, I promise you, and our faculty. Any other new board business? Okay. We'll move to the superintendent's report.
Okay, Mr. Acton returned from his medical leave last Monday. He met with the entire staff in the gymnasium of the high school, had a nice discussion. We look forward to working with Mr. Acton as he returns to work, whatever the schedule he best decides is for him. And so there we are. We're looking forward to his return, and that's the high point.
And we will be very transparent on our process on hiring a new one, Mr. Subak. I've done. We will be out in front of that to not just keep that to ourselves, but to our faculty, our people, our town as well. Anybody have anything to add on that? And the best part of our meeting is the positive praises. Who haven't we started? We'll start with Mark. Mark's never got to start.
Sure I have.
Oh, you have?
Sure I have.
Yeah.
I'd like to give a praise out to the wrestling team. They kind of get forgotten a little bit, but we have a great wrestling program, and I couldn't give you an exact date, but the wrestling program's been around for quite a little bit, but it's still, a pretty new program, and they do a lot of wonderful things. They just hosted, was it 6 teams?
Yeah,
6 teams, and they finished second out of the 6. So there's a lot of good things going on there. You just don't hear a lot of people talking about that from time to time, so I want to give a good shout out to them. Thanks to all the staff. Hope everybody enjoyed their time off with their families, but time to get back rolling again. Obviously, we didn't get off to the best start with 2 days off at the end of the week last week, but we'll continue moving forward.
Ray?
Okay, first of all, I'd like to recognize a Salem graduate, Dale Lyles, who was promoted to Major General. It's been 2 weeks ago, Friday or something like that. I think he was maybe a 1981 graduate of Salem, somewhere in that neighborhood. Yeah. So congratulations to him. And then just recently, I know everybody probably wants to hit on this, and add to it, Jennifer Martin received a national award for called Reach Higher Excellent in College Counseling Award, recognized by the state superintendent. I think they're in Indianapolis this week, and they ran into her, or however it worked out, but the state superintendent recognized that as a great honor. So she's been very proactive in pushing kids to prepare for the future, so that's why she probably got that award, one of the things. And you guys can, I know you can add to that, so maybe you spoke to her some other time, so. Back to you, that's it.
Richard.
Oh.
I'm a bit short on them tonight here. I definitely want to recognize Jennifer, because I think sometimes we have staff members and counselors who do some work beyond what we realize and deserve this credit. So to Jennifer, thank you very much, and congratulations. I think it's too cold to come to school. I'm freezing. And other than that, we're still very lucky to have the school programs and the things that we have, and this much activity in a small community like this. I remain proud of what we have and what we do, and it will get warmer.
Well, same thing with Jennifer Martin. I wanted to give her praise. What an honor. What a nice thing for her and our school corporation. The next thing I wanted to say was the Salem Lion News Network. I think that's a really cool thing. And so when you're cold and you're at home then you can watch all the fun things that are going on at school.
Yeah.
So JD waits with in his group, that's very
Thank you,
nice.
JD.
And also our new weight room, I went and looked at it at the ball game at halftime the other night, and it's very impressive. And what a nice thing for our athletes, so very exciting.
I would just like to thank all of our staff that I know there's a lot of kids that have been in need, and especially over the holidays, those things are highlighted. And so to all those that contributed and helped and went the extra mile to do things for our kids, to meet basic needs and help them have a good Christmas. So I'm thankful for that. Looking forward to the semester, and I know that sometimes the breaks don't feel like they're long enough, but just hopefully everybody comes back refreshed and ready to go and keep doing what we do well. Shout out to Jennifer. Everybody look forward tonight at the national championship game, so super excited for her. And talking about the wrestling, and I think even like the swimming program doesn't get, they've had some records broken and things going on with that program that I think there's a lot of effort that goes into that as well. So.
Well, I have to say everything that they said, and I think that whatever extra activities they're doing, I think our athletes or the band or choir or whatever, I think keeping everybody well and safe has been top priority, and I think everyone's doing a great job in doing that, and I think that it's awesome in school to have those opportunities to do and try different things and to figure out where you excel at and your highs and your lows. So I think that's great, and I think it's wonderful that we can continue doing that. I do want to say that we are in January and we're starting to think prom. And I know everybody's like, she's getting, but don't think those girls aren't thinking about prom dresses. So I'm going to get with Jana, and we're going to try to get a date that we can do the free prom dress giveaway. I've had a lot of people wanting to know about that, so we'll be working on that. And that's always a good positive and a lot of fun on that. Also, I do have a letter here, too, that was written from Geneva Dowling, and it says, "Thank you so much for the lantern during the passing of my mother. Your kindness and understanding is so appreciated." So we thank you for thinking of our families too, Janice. Janice is very good at doing that and making sure we're taken care of on that. Also, I talked with Mrs. Morgan. She will be doing the steam room, the room steam, and she's over the moon, excited about it. She's been working on plans and got all kinds of great activities already when we get the new additions. And it was exciting to hear where they're at. I understand completely with getting products and trying to get the material, but I think that to me is a ray of sunshine to see that, and to see when you drive by and you see the different work being done. It's so exciting, and it's going to be so awesome for our students and for our faculty, everyone. It's going to be awesome for our community. It's going to be great for the community too. So I think there's a lot of great positive, and so in January it seems like it's darker and maybe we need some sunshine. So those are some good highlights and sunshines and good new growth, and to see that is a good positive for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I'm jealous of Jennifer winning that award, getting to go to that football game tonight. But I know she puts in a lot of good work, and I've watched. She's been everywhere and gotten to eat she's going to weigh 20 pounds more. She's gotten to eat all kinds of places. So I wish she would have invited me, but she didn't. She invited Chris, I think. Joe didn't get to go either. So I hope they're having a great time up there tonight. And thank you, Jennifer. We've lost a lot of people this year, and keep Josie Alexander in your prayers as she lost her husband. And you've done a lot of work to keep us up to date, and taking care of those people, and just like the Christmas stuff you've talked about, as you've had loss as well. It's just been a tough year, and we battled through it. So we're on the downhill slide now, and hopefully it starts to get warmer and the cold goes away in a hurry. But we appreciate you. Did you guys have anything? And I do appreciate him. We talked about the money and whatnot. He's been great to work with when we talk about teacher negotiations and a weight room and a new car for staff that's going to training, and that's all because he's been a good steward of our money. So we appreciate what he does. We're not asking him to change his ways, as he was insinuating earlier, but he's a good dude, and we're glad to have him.
Thank you, Rodney.
100%. Yeah. Well, we started off rough 3 years ago, and we're like,
Like fine wine.
it is.
It got better.
Yes. Yeah.
I would add, though,
Yeah.
not just the finances.
Yeah.
In the absence, and during our superintendent's leave, everyone, you take out a key component of the puzzle, and everybody has to step up and fill in, and through this period, everyone in the admin building has done a really good job. And when you've got someone as old as Mr. Thurston, as experienced.
Seasoned.
I did not mean to say that. As experienced as Dr. Thurston, you have, I cannot believe I said that.
All right.
It pays off.
Yeah.
It really does. I mean, because he's been around the block a time or two, and
Appreciate it.
and we really appreciate that, because you've got a pandemic, and you've got the issues that we've had to deal with, and there's a lot going on, and your experience has really helped, and everybody in the admin building, their contributions, I think, is to be commended, because these aren't normal times, and ours are even compounded more so. So thank you.
100%. Dr. Thurston said it best when we lost Derek Smith, that we have a great town that comes together and helps each other. So I remember you saying that, and we appreciate you, Brent, and all you board members that's been through this, and as we start the process to go through, looking for new leadership and whatnot. So, and to our staff, as we deal with COVID, we had a rough day back today, and that will get better. So, thanks for coming. We appreciate you. Our next regular meeting will be February the 14th, 2022.
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
That you could tell that our president's a male.
Yeah.
That's Valentine's
Well, we can do it. We can move that if we have
No,
to.
just kidding.
Yes,
Just kidding.
George.
Late news this afternoon, JD said if you want to see Jennifer tonight, find the green apple just before the anthem. She'll be on the field next to the green apple. So find her right before the national anthem. I'm like you, I'm jealous right now. I said, hey, you need a +1.
Yes.
And the football team for Salem was featured in the Indy Star Saturday, not for what they do on the field, but for what they do off the field.
Oh, wow.
They were one of the top football teams for their community service
Well done.
in the state. They were recognized for that. Check out the Salem Democrat Thursday for a story here about that story.
Thanks. We appreciate it, George.
Excellent.
And as of right now, the meeting's February 14th, 2022.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
We'll be fine.
We'll be fine.
Yeah.
We just want
Dr.
flowers.
Thurston will bake cookies for
Unless
everyone.
I maybe I'll bring
Check with
cookies.
Richard, he's the newlywed.
Yeah, he's the newlywed, yeah.
Mark makes a motion.
There we go.
I'll second.
Ray seconds. All those in favor?